Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome back to Redding, California. Yeah, Redding, California. This is a 1.37 patch. We're still in a base game 389. I did put a sleeper on it. I'm a little disappointed that SCS does not have the classic 36-inch coffin box sleeper for the 389. That's a piece of Americana right there. This big one, I don't know, not quite the same. We're going to stay in base game trucks, base game 389, base game 579 until 1.37 is out of beta. The only other truck we really drive a lot is the 389 Viper, and I'm told that that modder does not bring that mod forward. They don't patch it up until SCS brings their patch out of beta into full release. So when 1.37 transitions from beta to full release, then the Viper 389 will be back in game. We've got our food tank on here. We had a 53-foot food tank before I swapped it out to these two California legal. It's not quite a double pup set, but it's sort of in the neighborhood, just to kind of mix it up a little bit. We just picked up a load of milk, and we're going to take it up toward Eugene. We don't really need to, I don't think, get ready for the Idaho DLC quite yet, because last time, if I recall correctly, I did this for... what were the last two? Road to the Black Sea and Utah. Yeah, I was all ready for them. I drove to the border. I was at the state line, and then it was like another 6 weeks before it got released. So, who knows? Now, I also noticed that 1.37 has not dropped for ATS yet, which is, I got a truck built. I got a parallel profile. I have a base game truck. I'm all ready to run. No mods, just 1.37. And it's nowhere to be seen. Typically, they do release these fairly close together, but they never said that was going to be the only way they did it. I think that might have been just something we got used to because it happened that way several patches in a row, several DLC in a row. So you know what? It'll be here when it gets here, and I'm happy to focus on quality rather than timing. It'll be here. I'm not in a hurry. Not in a hurry at all. And I think, hang on, do we want to... hang on. Yeah. I will never get sick of being able to put the window up and down. That is so cool. So yeah, we'll wait on 1.37 for ETS. When it does, I'll drop an ETS video for you. You've noticed I've been spamming you with Western Shore farm videos, and there's a reason for that. I decided around the first of the year that on the channel, I never wanted to do a video just to do a video. I always wanted there to be a reason why we're doing it. And because, I don't know, Western Shore is still really new to me, so I feel like that's a good reason. 1.37, that's a good reason. There's DLC coming for Train Sim World. I'll talk about that in a minute. That's a good reason. But as far as, you know, it's a Wednesday, let's record a video. I don't know, what kind of video? Doesn't matter, let's just record one. I don't ever want it to be like that. I always want the things that I record and things that I put up on the channel to be things that matter to you and things that, you know, there's a reason that it's there. So that's why there's been so much Western Shore. I'm really having fun on that map, and you seem to be enjoying it as well. But there have been a couple days with no video, and what you were not seeing on those days when there was no video is me just putting up filler. You know, I don't want to put up any filler for you, just to be able to say, yeah, I post every day or whatever. Get down to a good gear here, like so. That bus is hauling ass. Let's see if we can get out here in front of them. So, Train Sim World. Yeah, there's 2 DLC coming for Train Sim World. There is a loco coming, a switching loco for the Peninsula Corridor route. And then there is a German route, turn signal. There's a German route coming, and now we have the Ruhr-Sig Nord. Is that correct? And this new DLC is the Rhine-Ruhr. Hope I'm saying that right. And I got to thinking, because in the notes for it, obviously the loco for the Peninsula Corridor, you have to have the Peninsula Corridor route. But for the other, I don't think you need to have that other route to get this new DLC that's being released. And I started wondering, because the regions apparently are pretty close together, I mean, same name, sound like they're in the same neighborhood. Could those two routes ever sort of connect? You know, could you ever go out one end of one DLC and in the other end of a second one? And so you have like a 70-mile route? I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if the game can keep that much loaded. Whoa. All right. That was interesting. I don't know if the game could keep that much in RAM at once. I don't know if the game loads the entire route or if it loads it in tiles. And if it does load the entire route, I don't think it could load 2 entire routes. So maybe that's not possible. But it did get me thinking, could we ever have routes that combine? I would like to see that, particularly on the NEC. If they could get that whole, it's like Boston to Richmond, Virginia, the whole Acela line. And we needed fuel, but I didn't pull in there in time. It's all right. We'll stop at the next one. So, yeah, those 2 are coming. I did the math, and if I continue getting every DLC that Dovetail releases, I'll spend about $400, $500 this year on DLC. And what's funny is I've said before, like, Dovetail, you got to space it out, man. You can't release 2 a week apart. It's not that much money, but it adds up, particularly when you think about all the other Sims and games that we play and all the other DLC that we buy. Space it out for me, man. And then here's SCS, which may not release Idaho and Iberia close to each other. They may release them a few weeks apart, a month apart, right? If the timing is the same as the 1.37 patch release, could be. And so on the one hand, it's like, hey, space these out a little bit more. And then another company, when they space them out, you say, hey, what's the delay? Why aren't these both released at the same time? So we're gamers. We're never happy. Nothing's ever good enough. New DLC coming there. iRacing 2020 Season 1 release. There is a new car, GT4. There are 2 new tracks. There are improvements to the damage model on a bunch of cars. There is some tweaks made to the team system, how you set up teams. And there's also, they're continuing to expand the AI. I haven't tried it yet because the only AI that's been available till now has been Porsche Cup, and I don't own that car in the service. But I believe it's been extended out to a few other cars, some of which I do own, or at least I have a car in that class, in that category. So I will hopefully be able to try that out soon. I'll let you know what I think of it. I don't know. I'm on the fence as to why iRacing would need AI at all. For me, it's always been fairly quick to get into a race, although you do have to do it on the iRacing schedule. The races go off at certain times, and that's when you start the race. It's not an ad hoc, matchmaking sort of thing where you just throw your name in a hat and when enough hat names, name hat. Let me start again. You just enter, and when enough people have entered, then the event can begin. Battle Royal kind of thing. It's not like that. The races go off at a certain time. I think that has something to do with the way that they split the drivers into, skill or license or category or whatever. They break it out so you're racing against people that are about your same skill level. And I think that's why they choose to have the races go off at specific times rather than ad hoc. I just remembered. Put our window up. I'm going to forget that a lot. I am. It's going to take a while till I am, you know what I mean? Really automatic on the whole window thing. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't personally think that iRacing needs AI, but we'll see. Most things they do pretty well. So we got that going. Battle Royal. Call of Duty Battle Royal just released. It's free to play, microtransactions up the ass, but free to play if you just want to play it. I'm not going to. It's not really my style of game. I'm enjoying watching other people play it, but I'm not going to play it. Looks fun, just not for me. But that's out. Hopefully that'll pull some traffic away from Tarkov and free up a little load on the service. It also makes me think that's why Nikita has been doing so many promotions the past 10 weeks or so. People saying, Nikita, why are you promoting a game when the servers that you have now can't support your player base? Why are you trying to extend your player base? What are you doing, son? And I think that's what he's doing. I think he knew that was coming. And even though they're 2 really sort of vastly different games in one way, in another way, they're really not. They're games where you run around a huge map with teammates and shoot at people with military-type weapons, and you can build guns and customize them and put suppressors and scopes on them. In that way, it is kind of similar. And, when you think about the 80-20 rule of gaming, 80-20, I don't know if you're familiar with 80-20. 80-20, it's everywhere, man. It's it's so pervasive in just everything that it makes you wonder, Illuminati confirmed, that sort of thing. But it's like 20% of your player base makes up 80% of your play hours. And so you've got a core of really committed, really devoted people. But they can only buy the title 20% of the time, right? That makes sense? You buy the title once, and in a lot of games you're done. You're a customer now. And a developer's not going to get any more money out of you, at least for the title. They may get money out of you for microtransactions, but it's like the most dedicated players of a game are not necessarily the players that make that company the most money, and vice versa. So I don't know what Battlestate, the Tarkov developer, I don't know what they're doing, but they have to be worrying that a game like this new, Warzone, Call of Duty Warzone, that is going to take some business away from them. And if they can get people to buy the game, play it casually for a few weeks, and then move on to the next game, good on them, man. They got your $50 or your $80 or your $140. You played the game, you're a casual player. Maybe you had fun, maybe you didn't, and now here's another game, you buy that. Maybe you become a serious player, casual player, whatever. But the Battlestate already has your money. And if you get some microtransactions through Call of Duty Warzone, and then you move on to something else, well, then Activision has your money. So I don't know that the developers and publishers necessarily want long-term play on their games unless it's going to result in long-term revenue. Because if it's not resulting in revenue, all you're doing is putting a drain on their servers and costing them money. So we'll see how it all turns out. I wouldn't mind a little bit less of a load on the Tarkov servers. Maybe be able to match a little more quickly, but, it's neither here nor there. As much as I enjoy that game, it's not part of my core gaming experience. I'm always going to be a sim gamer at heart. And I understand that military simulation is a category, but it's not the same. And we can call it milsim, but it's a shooting game. So that's what's going on there. I'm trying to think of anything else. iRacing, a little patch for Assetto Corsa Competizione, which I'm loving. It's a fantastic game. I did 2 races at Mazzano in career mode. First one was in the afternoon, early afternoon. Did all right. I started on pole. I had a horrible pit stop. Came out in 14th and finished 9th. So I felt pretty good about that. Second race started in the late afternoon, almost evening. And it was a monsoon. I've never seen it raining so hard in Assetto Corsa Competizione. Did okay, but definitely a different kind of experience. I've never driven in rain that hard, ever. Hard to see when you were just driving, and when a car passed you, when a car passed me, I guess a better way to say it, when a car passed me, just an absolute wall of white. Could not see a thing. Couldn't even see the car that was in front of you making the spray. So if that's realistic, and I have no reason to doubt it, if that's what real GT3 drivers have to go through when they do a rain race, right? Like last year at Monza, and then again at Spa, I want to say. Is that right? Yeah, those were the 2 races with the heavy rain. But just, TV doesn't do it justice. Broadcast coverage does not do it justice. It's madness. You can't see anything. So got through both of those, and yeah, I mean, as challenging as it was, also very satisfying, and reminds me I really do love race sims. And there are other sims and other games that I play that are challenging and sort of frustrating, and not necessarily satisfying. It's like they're just sort of only frustrating. But race sims, as frustrating as they can be, ultimately they are, I think, my favorite kind of sim. Wait, traffic, sorting it out. But then I'll qualify that, and I'll say they're my favorite kind of sim in the context of a lot of other kinds of sims. Oh, we got a full-blown cluster up here. Sir, I'm going to wait for this guy to go. He's thinking about it. I mean, I'm impressed with this merging, though. I mean, that was probably not realistic highway speeds. You wouldn't have traffic slowing down to those speeds on a highway. But you know what I mean? We sort of went one by one there, got it done. Right. What else is going on? A YouTuber that I follow, Karma Cut, posted a link to EVE Online. Download EVE Online through his link and get 1,000,000 skill points. Man, I don't even know what... Is that a lot? Do I want that? Is that a good thing? Oh. Last time I played EVE Online was 11 years ago. That's a long time. I played it, I liked it, but I was at a really different place in my life, and I was at a really different place as far as gaming. And I was just sort of, I don't know, picking and choosing. I wasn't really a person that you would describe as a gamer at that point. I was just, every now and then I would just give something a try. And I tried EVE Online. I put probably 30 or 40 hours into it. I liked it, but it's a really different kind of sim. And, well, it's not a sim. It's an MMORPG. It takes place in space, but it's an MMORPG. You're definitely building your character. You're definitely collecting loot. You're definitely leveling up. So it's got all the RPG aspects. But it is in space, and it's... I've heard people describe it as a game where you pretend to be a person who has a job. And I wouldn't disagree with that. It's a good game. I'll have to give it some hours and see what I think of it. It is a good game. But it is different. It is different. And it is also, like a lot of RPG, it is just absolutely buried in lore. And I don't know that I'll have time to read or understand or get involved in the lore as far as your race and your bloodline and your specialties and where you went to school, and the clans and the factions and who's at war with who. There's a lot to remember. And it's funny with games because we want games that have that kind of depth. And then when we get them, we say, this is too much depth. I don't have time for this. I don't have time in my real life to commit to this, and I don't want to play just one game. I look at a game like EVE and I think if you played this a couple hours a night, it would probably take you 6 months to know all that lore in and out, and to know, without looking it up, who you're carefully, who you're at war with, where to go, where the money is to be made, all that stuff. To know that off the top of your head. And I know some people that play those games, it's a spirit animal kind of thing. They play a game like that, they say, that's it, man. This is the only game I need. And it is. And that's the only game they play. Good on them. That's awesome. But I play a lot of different games. And so it's difficult for me to imagine being able to really get the true experience, get the most out of a game like EVE, if I really can't play it that much compared to how much it needs to be played. Does that make sense? Did I say that right? I think I did. Yeah, it's, iRacing is the same way. If you want to be competitive in iRacing, and we are excluding aliens. We are excluding people that are just, you know what I mean? Gifted. Savants. I don't think you could be good at iRacing if you hopped in there an hour or two a week. It's more of a couple hours a day thing. And for a lot of adults, they don't even have a couple hours a day to game. So the idea that, you just can't be good at a game that's a difficult thing to sort out. And I know developers work to balance games because they do want, if you ask a developer or a publisher, how big do you want your audience to be? They would say 8 billion. Everybody on the planet, every human being who breathes oxygen should be our customer. And of course that can't be the case because not everybody games, not everybody can afford a console or a PC, not everybody has time. It can't be the full 8 billion. But as a developer, in a perfect world, you would like it to be. This is really making me nervous. Sir? Oh, that is dicey. Even in a game that's dicey, in real life, that would be, That would be really unnerving. All right, we'll get through here. Okay, woo, carefully. So, I mean, and it's the whole thing that, well, again, using Tarkov as an example, it's a very, very difficult game. And the people that have been playing it for 3 years, there goes my voice, people that have been playing it for 3 years say, yeah, I don't see the problem. Get good. And contrast that with something like Division 2, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, 2 games that I have plenty of experience with. Running out of fuel. I think we're going to make it. I'm not going to fuel up here. We'll just push all the way into Eugene. Time, 21 minutes. We may make it in this episode. Yeah, I think we will. So I know from experience that both those games start pretty stiff, but then they level off fairly quickly, and then at the end they drop off completely. So instead of the game becoming more difficult as you play it, it gets easier. And if the raid represents, in either one of those games, if the raid represents the hardest, I don't know, pinnacle, the crowning achievement, and also the most rare loot in the game, I can tell you from both of them, once you've been through the raid a few times, it's a piece of cake. You just burn through it over and over. We were farming the raid in Division 2 by the time I got away from that game. Right? Just farming eagle bearers. It was easy. And it was boring. And that was ultimately why I moved on. I think it should be just the opposite. I think rather than the curve being steep at the beginning and shallow at the end, I think the curve should be shallow at the beginning and steep at the end. I think the game should be easy to get into and easy to participate in, and then get gradually more and more difficult. And then the end game loot is nigh impossible. So something like The Division, what was it, like 5% of people that played it finished the raid? I would say that, concentrating, it should be something more like 5% of the people that started the raid finished the raid, or to break it down in some way so that the end is almost impossible, right? And I know I getting weighed here again too. Okay. I don't know if I've ever been weighed twice in the same trip. It's not a bad thing. I'm just trying to think if this has ever happened before. I know it sounds like I'm saying the same thing, because on the one hand, it's like, you know, the content should be hard enough that the end is almost impossible. And you say, well, only 5% of the people finish the raid. Perhaps that's because it's impossible. But the thing is, I didn't find it to be particularly difficult. I think a lot of people just, I don't know, didn't get around to it or couldn't get into a good clan or whatever. But I personally found it to be very easy. And then after that, really sort of boring. And if it's something like a rare drop, where to even see one is, you know, unusual, versus the rare drops from the raids in those Ubisoft games where they were all over the place. You saw them constantly. So comparing that to Tarkov, where the game is, it's almost impossible to get momentum. It's really, really effing hard. Really hard. But then once you get rolling and make some money, you can buy good guns and good armor. You know, it's not nearly as hard after that. So I feel like late game players have so much of an advantage over new players, and they don't even know it. But the only thing that they can offer is, hey, just get good. And any game, any game from that perspective is, we could say it's skill gated, right? That you don't get the good stuff, and you can't have the good fun unless you get good. But another way of saying that is it's time gated, because getting good very often involves just playing the game a lot. If you don't have time to play the game, you won't get good. So in that way, it's not fair to new players because, right, they just can't get good. But to do it the opposite way, sir, he has let me out. All right, fantastic. But to do it the opposite way would not be fair to hardcore game players, right? Because they put in a lot more time and a lot more effort, and if their rewards are no greater than somebody who plays casually, then that's not fair to them. So there's it's just an incredible balance for a developer to try to make a game that is all things to all people. Now with AI, it's a lot easier because everybody's playing by themselves, and so as various things are happening, you're sort of locked in your own little world. But if there is a possibility of PvP, or if a game is mandatory PvP, then you get into the whole leveling thing. If people are going to PvP together, you level their gear, right? That makes it completely fair. Now all their gear is at the same level, whether cosmetically or visually or whatever, by name. You get to keep all your gear. It's just going to behave a little differently so that everybody is on a level playing field. Oh, that's awesome. That's super nice. Except it's not, because now we go back to the first problem, which is the whole skill thing. And you may have had an advantage because you're not that skilled a player, but you have really good gear. Well, that gear advantage has been taken away, and now it's just pure skill, and you're going to get greased. So it's very, very difficult. But you know what? That's the way it is in the real world. Really, it is. That's how things work. Trust me, I'm not gonna list my teams, but yeah, sometimes your teams just suck and they just get hammered every week, and that's real life. And I think sometimes I wonder, should gaming be a metaphor for real life, or should it be a place that we go to where nothing is like real life, where we can sort of escape from real life, right? That's what we want to do when we game. We want to be superheroes. We want to be amazing. But I think as gaming evolves, as it gets into more of an avatar type of model, the things that we're doing in gaming are the things that we would do, in real life. And in real life, a lot of people are really competitive. Carefully. A lot of people are really competitive. I've seen people pick up basketball game at the YMCA. I've seen people, dunk on an old man and hang the rim. Right? There's no need for that. There's no need for that. But people are just competitive. So maybe we're getting to a place where the only places that we can go where things are just super chill and relaxing are in sims like this one right here. It's not competitive at all. We just drive a truck, talk about gaming, talk about what's going on in the world, and farming, of course. And then when I'm done here, I'll go have a cup of coffee and head to Tarkov for some mayhem and deviltry. Anyway, yeah, this is your first time on the channel. This is what we do when we drive the truck. Talk about gaming, we talk about life. We'll be out on time, 28 minutes, and we're getting into the Gene, as they say. Hang on. I keep hearing my alarm, and I'm not quite slowing down enough. There we go. I know. I hear you. There we are. Set the cruise control. Not this exit. All right. I mean, this is an exit for Eugene, but we're not getting off here. Next one, perhaps. Hey, I noticed something. I have a feeling, as I was looking through the menus trying to find a cargo to come up here, I have a feeling that SCS is getting more, they're being more specific, more accurate, I guess, in how they delegate where you pick up cargoes. Not just the name of the facility, but the area on the map. So this food tank that we have on here, the only thing that I've seen it haul so far, the only thing that I've hauled in it in 5 or 6 trips, is milk. And the only place geographically that we've really picked up have been places where in real life there would be farms. So kudos to them, man. I really like that. I know for a while it's been like, if you're going to pick up a digger, it will be at a heavy equipment location, a yard of some kind, or a construction site. So I know they've been doing that. But I feel like they're getting more detailed about it, more specific, and I really do appreciate that. I really do. I like that level of detail in any game. Oh, hang on. Put our window down. Go right through here. Right, like so. Here we go. We're here. Yeah, we'll be just over 30 minutes. Not too bad. And I am intentionally leaving that turn signal on because we're making another right. I've got the automatic turn signal turn off function turned off. Yeah, I think I said that right. So it's the self-cancel, the turn signal self-cancel is deactivated. I have to remember to turn them off. And sometimes I do forget for a minute, particularly when my thumbs and fingers are busy doing other stuff. Right, so we'll stop for this light. And right on red is legal everywhere in America now, is it not? Unless there's a sign telling you not to. It's just, I don't know. I mean, tickets don't really matter to us. We're sitting on 1.7 million. I just hate getting tickets. I don't think you get a ticket for any right turn on red in this game now. Right, and then over here, where are we going? This this game certainly has its moments. It can be very easy on the eyes. All right, so we'll turn in here. Like so. And then right in there. Fantastic. Turn signal off. And we'll just slip it right in here. That's not too bad. 30 minutes. I'll take it. Right. Neutral. Lights off. Set the brake. Engine is off. Let's hop out here. And do that. How'd we do? We are on time. 377 miles. Plenty of money. Plenty of XP. Beautiful. There you have it. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out The Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. We'll see you next time. Take care now.